Hey everyone, welcome back to Taproot TV. I'm Benna Hughes, and I'm here today with Ken Reed. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing excellent, thank you.
That's wonderful. Ken, do you ever have need to ask for help?
Only when required. Only when forced.
Yeah, men are that way.
We can be, yeah.
Us women, we know how to ask for help all the time.
And you're smarter than us.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is when should you ask for help in root cause analysis? Right. And there was a blog article recently written by Mark Paradise, and he went over several really important points because, sometimes that's just a really hard thing to do. It
is, especially, we teach you during our courses how you can do your own stuff, but recognizing when sometimes you need a little extra assistance can be tough sometimes. Yeah.
And one of the things about I read in this article, a lot of it is because, we're dealing with people, which is a lot of times why the investigations are happening in the first place.
Right. That's right.
So we're going to go over a few points with you of when it's a great time to ask for that assistance.
Right.
The blame trap.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a couple different ways of thinking about this, but sometimes while you're doing an investigation, you're the investigator, and you have to come up with sometimes kind of tough answers that you have to present up to your management, and management can sometimes feel like they're getting singled out by the investigator, and can feel like the investigator is getting blamed for their bad news.
Right, and if it's a culture of blame in that organization,
that
it can really make it tough.
Yeah, that amplifies. It makes it worse. Yeah.
So. In this case, what we're talking about is not necessarily blaming somebody that was involved in the incident, but blaming the investigator for something.
That's
Suddenly, you become the bad guy.
Right. It's not something we normally think about, and yet in certain company cultures that can happen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And things can get personal. So sometimes that's a time when it's good to maybe get an outsider involved.
Right. Now, an outsider, it's harder for management or whoever to blame the investigator when it's an outside person. They feel that, there's a little bit of extra thought coming into it as opposed to just internally. So,
and that person can go home.
Right, and they can go home, and it doesn't bother us if we're blamed. So it's we'll take it. It's fine.
I think honestly, I think it's a very excellent way to handle things because you've got to go back to work with everybody.
That's right.
So that's one of those times when you want to do that. Another one is the knowledge gap, or for technical help. So you're investigating and suddenly you're out of your expertise.
Yeah, there's some investigations end up with very very targeted kinds of problems that maybe you're not an expert on. Human engineering problems. What color should a light be on a control panel, and what shape should a switch be? You may not be an expert on that, and it's really sometimes helpful to have somebody who is an expert to come in and give you a hand with those kind of investigations.
Equipment issues.
Equipment problems. If you're a company that doesn't have a lot of equipment, therefore you don't have a lot of equipment experts, but that one piece of equipment you've got doesn't work, it may be time to call an expert in to help you out.
Or somebody who knows about that machine, or just, we all don't know everything, that's for sure. This one I thought was very interesting and probably is pretty prominent, I would think, is the referee trap.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at, maybe one department against another department.
Right. You can see, you got and some examples, and this isn't true in all companies, but union and non-union kind of things can happen sometimes, and management versus the salaried guys. There can be some friction there sometimes, and it's hard to have an internal referee sometimes that can kind of take these two opposing sides, and get them to work well together. And sometimes it takes an external person to come in and give a hand with that as a referee, as somebody.
Well, you want to avoid that position. You do not want to be in that position at all, because you're impartial, for sure, in what's going on in your company. So getting an independent person to come in can help take that weight off.
Take that burden off you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be a big burden.
Think
in healthcare. Doctors and nurses.
Sometimes.
Or your admin, your management in a hospital versus, there's so many dynamics right there.
There are, and it's very difficult when you're stuck in the middle of that. Like you said, you're supposed to be impartial, and yet you've got both sides that are kind of pushing at each other and at you. So it's good to have an external person come in sometimes and kind of run that.
The fresh set of eyes. And I remember this coming into play like the first time I took a Taproot course. And we were doing the exercise and everything, and I was working with a group from the same company, and they're sitting there, what seemed just like a no-brainer question to me. They didn't even think about asking because
they're too close.
They're too close to the situation.
Yeah.
And so I asked it. I was like, I don't want to be stupid, but and they're like, oh, well, we really didn't think about that.
Yeah. Having a non-expert sometimes, or somebody who's not associated with either the company or the process or the investigation, can really be helpful. I used to have people, in my Navy experience, from the forward end of the ship would come back to the engine room and look at stuff and say, why does that leak? And why does that do that? And it's like, I don't know, it always does that. And then you think to yourself, that's a stupid answer. So it's a great idea sometimes to have a fresh set of eyes come in and just look at your problem, and you can get some different perspective on it.
Yeah, get rid of that bias in what you're doing, because you see things the way you think they should. It's like trying to proofread your own stuff.
Oh, that's a great example. You have to give that to somebody else.
You
right?
do. You always have to do that.
Yeah.
The last one we're going to talk about is called Expert from Afar. And I really love this one. Yeah, I love this one because while it seems like, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, when it comes down to it, I think part of it's monetary.
Some of it.
Some of it could be monetary, but it's like they may trust the opinion of the expertise of somebody who's been brought in from the outside.
Right.
You're paying a bunch of money for this person.
They must be good.
They must be good. And sometimes they are very good.
Right.
But where it's important is, you may think that's a waste of energy and stuff like that. But if you're continuing to have the same things happen over and over because nobody's listening to you,
right? It may just be worth that extra time and money and resources to bring somebody else in and say, "Can you go take a look at this and see what you think?"
Yeah.
And that expert then has some credentials behind them.
Right.
Not that you as an investigator don't have credentials, but it's a different set of credentials, and management may see that a little bit differently.
And they've put a bigger investment into getting this solution, and so sometimes that may be the trick.
Right.
And if it is, great.
It works. You got a good answer, and you got good corrective actions in place, and you're fixing stuff. So
we can help with that.
We can help with that. Yeah.
How can we help with that, Ken?
Well, it's like I said, it's we always want companies to be able to do their own investigations. That's always our goal. But for these particular reasons that we talked about, it's sometimes a great idea to have you ask us. We're happy to, sometimes just on the phone. Just a very quick phone call.
Very easy.
Yeah, I had a really cool phone call today. They just needed some help. They needed to talk it through a little bit on how to do a proactive kind of investigation of an audit finding.
Right.
And they had never really done it that way before, and I just gave him some thoughts, and he said, whoa, stop, I got to write that down. That's perfect, to stop. So I had to be really quiet for like 30 seconds while he wrote everything down, and it worked out. It really helped get his thinking going sometimes.
So you got to be the secret expert from afar.
Right, they'll never know I was there. They'll never know. Or if you really need us, we can come out on site for a day, 2, 3, 4 days for something that's really causing these kinds of issues, and we can come in and give a hand.
We do that quite a bit, and we're
do.
happy to do it. It's one of those things that often we have to do at a moment's notice.
Yep.
So if any of these are situations you find yourself in and you want some outside expert help, or you need some extra advice or something, we're here for you. So we want you to contact us. First, we suggest make sure you get yourself Taproot trained. Be the expert in your
expert if you can, right?
Exactly. Go get that 5-day training and be the main team leader there at your company. That's what we want you to do first. Then contact us. We can come do investigations. We have contractors around the world.
Right.
So it's like there's no place that we can't go.
Pretty much, we can go anywhere. If you have any problems in Antarctica, I'm happy to come and help. I'd love to be there. Keep in mind, too, with that expert help that we can provide, it's either as an independent investigation, we can do it independently, or we can just come in and facilitate your investigation.
Yes.
So that's a great training opportunity for you to learn a little bit about how to facilitate an investigation. We can come in with our experts and just help you with your investigation.
If you're working on an investigation, you kind of get stuck. Well, we could work on setting up a webinar situation to help you work through things with you. We're here to partner with you. We're here to make sure your program is the best it can be. So please utilize us. Please contact us. You can reach us at info@taproot.com or give us a call at 865 539-2139. Visit our website. We've got all kinds of help on there that you may not even have to talk to us. You could just find it, query out something and find your answer there.
We have that expertise just floating around.
We do. Well, we do. I mean, every week, all this stuff is just pouring out of our website. So follow us on all of our social media platforms. You may find your answer there. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. We want to see you back here next week. I think we're going to talk about some supplemental training that we offer people above and beyond taproot training.
Beyond just straight taproot root cause analysis. How to enhance that for you.
Well, thanks for joining me, Ken.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and we'll see you here next week.
Bye-bye.